Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Livestream with me, Dr. Aparajita Jeetagunta. I am still recuperating from this amazing summit experience that we just had from Wednesday through Friday. But I wanted to take the time to get in here and give you sort of like my closing thoughts, which aren't really closing thoughts. They're more like opening thoughts to what's going to be coming up next. And what, like the initial, the first step of what I learned, what I personally learned from this summit, which was so deeply impactful for me. I hope it was impactful for all of you too. One of the things that I was very intentional about was, I'm not going to say the name of this other leadership retreat, but I'm actually looking at my phone so that I can tell you, I can describe to you what I see in that and directly related to how the C3EB Summit was different. So if you just give me 1 second, I want to make sure I go to this because I have a point to make here. Okay, so this is a leadership retreat that has been happening for several years now. And as I look down that list, what I see are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 Black women, 1 Black man, and over a dozen mainstream, what we traditionally think of as leaders, white looking or white passing men. Now, when I say that, I am not judging these men. I don't know the ethnicities or the cultural heritages of any of these speakers, but I am talking about visual representation. So one of the things that I was very intentional about with the C3EB Summit was the representation aspect of it. And for those of you who are just joining in, you may not know who I am. So I just want to take a moment to introduce myself, given this like little bit of a teaser I've given you. My name is Dr. Aparajita Jeetagunta, and I am the founder and CEO of AJ Rao LLC. And for the last time that I say this, I am the creator of the inaugural C3EB Summit, which already has such a bright future for the next 4 quarters. So thank you for tuning in, whether you're tuning in live or later. And again, my second to last message about this, the summit and future programmings would not have possible had it not been for our sponsors. So thank you so much to Essential IT for taking care of all of the back-end stuff and for being my backbone through this entire project. Thank you to Defy the Status Quo Marketing for taking care of the content and the social media management through Sylvia Pino. Thank you to Zanzibar Enterprises and Zanzibar Vermilio for being an amazing keynote speaker and somebody who believed in my vision and my dream for this summit and becoming a platinum sponsor. And thank you also to the Nielsen Company for walking the walk with us toward equity, toward belongingness, and toward intentional inclusion. Before I go on to everything that I learned about, I do want to take a moment, a few minutes, to thank each and every one of my speakers who contributed your expertise, your time, your experience, and your personal narratives and your personal experiences so that we can all better learn and grow and understand just how interconnected all of our equity, all of our belongingness, and all of our intentional inclusion of ourselves and others are. So thank you so much to our keynote speakers, Kalima Johnson, Brenda Williams, Dr. Jamie Hsu, Robert Jarris, Dr. Matthew Carter, Ruthie Bowles, Zanzibar Vermilio again, Dr. Ken Harris, Brianna Jenkins, Carolina Aramburo, and our closing keynote, Ashley Williams. One thing, if you notice, is that we started the summit with an incredibly strong, powerful Black woman and her narrative, and we ended it with another incredibly strong, powerful Black woman with her narrative about the ripple effect of you and how it is absolutely imperative that you follow your passion. But that wasn't it. In addition to all of these keynote speeches, we also brought to you panel discussions that comprised of Chuka Ikakwu, Dr. Rehan Lakhani, and Melissa Alvarez Mangual. Kevin Davenport and Neha Darji weren't able to be there that day, but we followed up that first day with Dr. Alton James, Kwabena Marcus Collins, Priscilla Green, Chuka Ikakwu again in his solo presentation, Tien Neo Emis, one of the most powerful voices and gender guides I've ever met in my life. You have personally touched me, and I know you touched so many of us who are trying to be gender conscious parents. So a huge thank you to you for lending your incredibly powerful story and perspective to make our summit what it is today. Thank you, Tien. Dr. Rehan Lakhani, my mom so super enjoyed your presentation. It was amazing, and you and I have so much more work to do. Taylor Roa, Ayana Pope, Stephen Benson, Rose Bear Don't Walk, who as an ethnobotanist taught us about going back to our roots with food. Samia Rahman, who talked about Pantry and the amazing work that Pantry is doing. And of course, my dear friend Sheba Williams from the New Leaders Council. And that was just day one. On day two, we had a panel discussion with Ranjiv Puri, Denisha Jenkins, who was tuning in for this panel discussion, as it turns out, in the middle of a hurricane path and in the middle of like relocation work and just so many other unforeseen circumstances, but she was at least able to be with us for that discussion, which I'm so thankful for. And of course, Roland Wong from NAP Detroit. We also had Rachel Stravelli, Joseph Hare, Victoria Clark, Newland Wing, Danielle Fitzpatrick Clark, disruptor extraordinaire, Terrence Pope, Ananda Bates, Melissa Alvarez Mangual coming back for interdisciplinary strategies of diversity, equity, inclusion, and belongingness, Jordan Langford Forster, or Bright Tail Woman, helping us understand how to dismantle the inequitable narratives of Native Americans, Coach Anita Liu, Dee Dee Alexander, Dahlia Kinsey, and Santosh Matthew, and that was just day two. And then on day three, we had, Pascal Edward, Joseph Harrigan, Kwabena Marcus Collins, Priscilla Green, and Dr. Nicole Carter. And we had Ed Balke, who blew all of our minds away with environmental integrity and why the world deserves equity environmentally. And we had Dan Moen or Dijuri. We had Shadora Ford. We got a pre-recording by Denisha Jenkins, given her situation. We had Dr. Nicole Carter. We had Pascal again talk about racism and residential segregation. We had Jay Brown and his friend Tori Henderson talk about what advocacy even means. So we had all of these amazing speakers. Thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of my heart to all of my keynote speakers, my panelists, and my workshop presenters. One of my biggest lessons from this is, and this may be shocking to you, because I have spent the last 2 days disconnected, trying to process everything I've learned from this inaugural C3EB Summit. And I'm not done processing yet. I have so much more to process. But one of the immediate things I can tell you already is that we're not going deep enough as a society. We are still caught up in the superficial. We are still caught up in the labels. And that was such a it keeps coming up for me as I process everything that the summit was, that we are still not leaning into what power and agency we have as individuals to make a global change, a community change, a societal change. And a large part of that keeps coming up for me is the fact that there are so many of us who we feel this inner fire. We can't explain it, but we feel it. But the way we've been raised, the way society has conditioned us, and the way we've internalized those messages, we find more safety in being complacent rather than taking risks, and rather than evolving ourselves, rather than reaching to a point of understanding better how to channel that inner fire. So what do? Instead, we ignore that inner fire. I'm talking to every single one of you. I'm talking to you, that high achiever that has always dreamed big dreams. And after a couple of tries and a few burns and some failures, you have decided to step in line with the status quo and the rat race, because at least that gives you a more solid income and a more solid future. And by no means am I knocking that solid future at all. What I'm telling you is not a judgment, is a realization of where I see things to be at, given my experience with the summit, given that I was just one person who put this together with the support of a team, which there's no way I could have done it without a team. There's no way I could have done it without my support system. There's no way I could have done it without Essential IT and Tisha Nagel, my project manager, and my entire tech support system. There's no way I could have done it without Ruthie Bowles and Sylvia Pinho. There was no way I could have done it without Tamar Nicole. And again, no way I could have done it without Alton James providing me that initial inspiration with that amazing introduction video and audio work that he did. But at the end of the day, this was the dream of one person. And I don't think we realize, I don't think any of our speakers or most of our speakers or any of, most of our audience members realize how powerful it is to put aside these labels, to put aside this conditioning, and to step into a place of discomfort where, by being true to that inner fire, by being true to that power that is within us that we have been denying ourselves of, that we have been neglecting, in the spirit of a weird type of collaboration that society has created because of its structures, where in order for one person to succeed, everybody else has to fail. In order for one person to step up, they have to step up on the shoulders and the heads and the necks of everybody else. We've created this weird, unhealthy competition in society. And what the inaugural C3EB Summit showed me is the possibility of what could happen if we stepped outside of that space of unhealthy competition and stepped into healthy collaboration, where we share resources, where we don't invent the wheel, where we are not in competition with anybody else, because there's space for all of us, because representation of every facet and nuance of us matters. Because we don't know when these videos are going to be watched by an 11-year-old or a 12-year-old who may see themselves in one of us, some of us, or all of us who have been a part of this inaugural summit, and say, I can be a better leader. I can be a more conscientious, compassionate leader. And the path to that is to tap into human nature, to go back to honoring what humanity is about. And that is that we are social beings who absolutely need to belong, who absolutely need to include ourselves and who absolutely need to see others as whole, nuanced, multifaceted beings, recognize them, cherish their differences, and then celebrate them. That is the biggest lesson that I have been so beyond blessed. I'm not going to cry. I'm going to try not to cry. But that is the biggest lesson that I've been so blessed because of this inaugural C3EB Summit that I created. My speakers, my panelists, my keynote speakers, and all of our attendees gave me such a huge gift in terms of my insight and my personal development and what I can learn from all of you that I interacted with last week in 3 days. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for stepping up and for participating and for contributing in whatever way you contributed, whether as a team member, as a speaker, a panelist, a keynote speaker, or an audience member. You are a part of a movement. You're a part of an ongoing movement that is going to come back November 19th and the 20th, that is going to come back in February, that is going to come back in May, and that is going to come back stronger as a global summit next August. So I hope you're all ready for this journey that we've all embarked on together, because it did not end on Friday. It just got started. So with that being said, I am so excited to announce to you that the C3EB Summit is going to be a quarterly summit with smaller themes. We are still going to have an annual summit in August every year, but it is going to be a quarterly summit. And our next summit, our next mini summit, is November 19th and the 20th, that Thursday and Friday right before Thanksgiving. And we are now already starting to finalize our speaker schedule, and you will be getting the details soon so you can participate in that too. In addition, until tomorrow, if you are a job seeker or an expert service provider, consultant, or freelancer, you have a special discount on the C3EB diverse expert and talent database that I'm going to personally market every single person who's a part of it. So make sure you take advantage of that. And in addition, over the next 3 months, as I unpack and as I start to learn, we are going to be resuming our sip and learns. We are going to be resuming our community activities. And I am going to do everything in my power to keep this platform going for those who have the lived experiences and the insights, so that we can represent well, so that we can all walk this walk together and shape our futures toward equity, toward belongingness, and toward intentional inclusion for our sakes and for the sake of my child and all of our children and their kids and the next generations. With that being said, it has been such an immense honor creating this summit for you. Words can't describe my thrill, my joy, and my absolute humility in what I've been able to put in front of you. I hope you all enjoy it. And if you have, please make sure you connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm going to put my LinkedIn portfolio up here right now. URL. There it is. Please connect with me on LinkedIn. Please like our C3EB Summit Facebook page. Leave us your feedback. Leave us your comments. Leave it for me on LinkedIn. Share these videos with whomever you feel could benefit from them. And again, thank you. Thank you for letting me be your host on this amazing adventure. And I look forward to seeing you in November, February, and May when we have our next mini summits. And of course, I look forward to seeing you next August when the C3EB Summit goes global. With that being said, that's it. If you have any questions, I'll stick around for a minute or so to answer them. But if not, we'll see you with the next announcement sometime very soon. Thank you so much.